everyone, it's Monday night, so I'm back with episode 5 in the Old Country Soul mini-series. And I hope that at a time like this where we can't get out to go and see some live music, that you're enjoying hearing stories from some of your favourites about their Old Country Soul and what it means to them. Tonight's guest is a bit of a legend. He is not only a gentle giant, but he has a kind and humble soul. I remember when I was about 16, I reached out to him to see if he would write a song with me, and I was very excited when he said yes. So I went up to his place and I sat in his man cave, and I was very amused that the whole session he was calling me boss, saying, "What's next, boss?" Little 16-year-old me. He's a laugh a minute, and I remember meeting him for the first time at Campbelltown RSL for the Fred Hollows fundraiser, put on by Frankie T and the guys at 2MCR. He was an ambassador and he was there every year and always willing to lend a hand. He's one of the nicest guys in the biz, and it's so great to be able to say good day to the legendary Adam Harvey. Hey Adam, it's so good to see you in that man cave over there.
Yeah, the man cave's just had a spring clean. We've been busy during this whole COVID lockdown, and we've put new ceilings in and actually put new carpet through the house and painted the whole place. And so I've got a whole new appreciation for having a real job and how hard that actually is. I haven't had to work now for about 30 odd years, and so yeah, it was good to get back to sanding plaster and screwing up sheets of plaster and painting and all that stuff again. But I feel very underdressed. I'm really sorry. You look like you're going to a ball gown, and I look like I'm going to a ball game, a game of footy or something. But you look magnificent.
I need to dress up. It's an excuse to wear makeup and curl my hair. It's grown for a long time. I've curled it or damaged it. It's good.
That's good. That's good.
Oh, well, your man cave's looking very smick. We can't be out on tour and performing for everybody, but the show must go on, as they say. So we're both releasing new music right now, and my song's called Old Country Soul, and I'm asking a few of the artists that I've known over the years to let me know, what's your interpretation? What's an old country soul to you?
Oh, I think it's probably more than just country music. I think it's probably more than just liking or loving old country music the way I do. I think it's more about a way of life, and I think it's about your attitude, and it's about wanting to do good in the community with your life. I think it's wanting to do good deeds. I think it's wanting to do the right thing and be honest and try and help people. I think all those things, when I think about having an old country soul, it kind of reminds me of what life was probably like in Australia back in the 50 years ago or even longer. And we just, there's a saying at the moment saying we're all in this together. Some people aren't really, they're not all in it with the rest of us. But back then, everyone seemed to be all in it together, and there was that whole emphasis on we all help one another out, and you do the right thing by one another. And I think a lot of that's got to do with having an old country soul. But it's a great title for a song. What gave you the inspiration? Where did you get the song?
Oh, I guess the song to me, an old country soul is about all those different things, and you're loving your country, your attitude, your values, all those different kind of things. And I love old country too. I grew up listening to Patsy Clines and Reavers, into more of that Martina McBride, Trisha Yearwood, those kind of songs. And I've always loved that, but obviously I love the modern contemporary side of country too. So I thought it'd be really cool to have a song that talks about old country, but that's a bit of a modern twist on it too. So that's where it came from.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Really good idea for a song. Hey, good luck with the single.
Thank you.
See, I thought I'd pick the perfect date to release a single, which was August the 14th, and then I find out that you're going to release one the same day. I'm like, oh my god!
Great minds think alike, Adam. That's why we wrote a song together all those years ago. I knew we were in sync. So talking about those attitudes and values and things like that is, I think we're all influenced in our childhood years by our parents and what they teach us. And is there a story from your childhood of something that, you know, was a little light bulb moment for you and you went, oh, okay, that you carried with you throughout your life?
Yeah, there are plenty of stories, but the one thing about Mum and Dad is they were a really strong family unit, and the big thing in our family was that you had to work. And I remember I was working at the time for a potato packing plant, and it turned out they were trucking more than just potatoes up to the markets in Melbourne, and so the place got raided, right?
Wow.
So I lost my job. And so I was unemployed for 2 weeks. I've only ever been unemployed for 2 weeks of my life, and my father was so ashamed of me that he refused to speak to me for 2 weeks, even at the dinner table and everything. The shame of that was, I'll never forget it. And then I got a job with an earth moving company. I started out steam cleaning the big mining machine, you know, with the gurney, steam cleaning the machines and stuff. But that work ethic, Dad was always, you know, you get up, get your backside up out of bed and get to work, you know, even if you felt crook or, you know, you couldn't be bothered or whatever. And I think that work ethic that Mum and Dad both had has been instilled in myself and my sister. And, that was really important. And I think having that family unit around was really important. And it's funny nowadays that, and I better be careful how I say this because there's no right or wrong, and I'm not, you know, but when my kids come home from school and they say, you know, Dad, of all of our friends, you and Mum are the only two people that are still together, like the only two friends that Mum and Dad that are still together as a unit. And as I said, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but it's just, I guess it's becoming more uncommon than the norm, if you know what I mean. And so that was instilled in us too, that, you know, you stick it out through the hard times, and true love travels on a gravel road, as they say.
Well, you've got me curious now. How did you go from a potato packing farm, or a potato packing farm, I should say, to becoming a country music artist? How did that happen?
Country music was always in our house, and once again, my dad lived and breathed it. He had a great country music collection, and our house was always, you know, just you could hear it through the house, country music playing, all the greats, and he knew so much about every artist, and he'd explain them to me, and so that was a really big influence. And I've always loved country music, and I got a guitar given to me. My auntie gave me a guitar, and then I went and bought one of those little chord books, you know, with the little books with all the chords and things. And I learnt to play the chords, and then I started strumming along to Dad's old Johnny Cash records and Willie and Waylon and a bit of old Slim and Stan Coster and all those people. And I just fell in love with the stories. And back then, I don't know, the thing that I love about the classic country music is that back then the artists were bigger than life themselves, you know, and when Johnny Cash sang a song about going to prison, he'd actually been to prison, you know. When Waylon Jennings sang a song about getting busted for drugs, he'd actually been busted for drugs, you know. And it's the same as when Slim sang about, you know, the Wobbly Boot Hotel or you know, the songs that he wrote about Australia. You knew he'd done the miles. Yeah. And so, you know, sometimes now when I hear some of those songs, it just, to me, it just doesn't seem as genuine. I you know, see these beautiful, you know, young American sort of cowboy guys that are talking about being in prison or you know, shooting someone, or, you know, and I think that's not, they've never done that. That's not people, you know. So I think, you know, once again, that's why I fell in love with those classic country music artists, because they lived the life they sang about, and it was very addictive. I think it really sucked me in, and I just loved it. That's all I ever wanted to do. And even over the years, when I had several real jobs, I started out as the lay-by boy at Target, and then worked lots of different jobs, and then drove trucks and earth-moving gear over the years, but always had the guitar with me, and always was, you know, playing country music, and I guess I just got lucky.
Well, you're very good at it, Adam. Don't
What's that bullshit?
Play yourself down. You're very good at it. Is there a particular artist, I don't know if it's Johnny Cash, that's influenced your country soul and the music that you put out?
I think the guy that really influenced me was a fella called Tom T. Hall, and he had a song out called Old Dogs and Children and Watermelon Wine, and I heard that song and just thought that was the most beautiful thing I'd ever heard. And when he sang it, you could close your eyes and actually just picture the whole scene, and you could almost he put you there, with him. Yeah. And I think he was a really big influence, and I've been very lucky that I've got to meet him on a few occasions, and I've been to his house in Franklin in Tennessee, and
nice.
And it's beautiful memories that I'll never forget. I sat in his lounge room with him, and I remember he said to me, "So what made you get into country music?" And I said, "Well, it's actually one of your songs that really got me addicted to country music." And he said, "Oh, what song was it?" And I told him, and he said, "Well, let's get the guitars out and sing it." So I sang that song with him in his lounge room, and I'll never ever forget it.
Oh, that's so
it's pretty cool, eh?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I wish we were out playing shows and able to do that and meet each other at festivals and all that good stuff that we're missing out on right now.
Well, you might have to come back up here to Harvey's Bar, and we'll do some songwriting again. I remember we did that many years ago.
We did. I was underage then, but now I can actually make use of the bar. So it sounds like a good excuse to me.
Right, a long time between drinks. It's a date. Come on up here and we'll write a song.
All right, let's do that. But apart from writing our songs, is there a way that you think as artists right now that we can still reach out and share our kindness and our country soul with those out there who are struggling and need it right now?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of things we can do. I've done a couple of charity shows, some online charity shows. I've also been up to Tamworth. I've been involved with a great fundraiser called The House That Drought Built, and they're expecting that they'll raise over $250,000 for the people in need up in the Tamworth local area and everything. So I think we can still do a lot of that stuff. But yeah, aside from that, you do what you can every day. My daughter Layla went through the McDonald's drive-through only a few days ago, and she got to the drive-through, and the young girl working there said, "Oh, the people in front have paid for your order," and they left her a little card, and it just said, "Pay it forward. Kindness is the best thing we can give to anyone," that sort of thing. And so I think those little things that you can do. I think every little bit helps, and at the moment you're right, we can't get on the road and travel as much as we'd like to, but just doing those little things, helping someone out at the supermarket or wherever you possibly can. The lovely fella over the road here has been pretty crook, so I go over there and mow his lawns, because not because I don't want anything back. I get so much more out of doing it than he will ever know, and so those sort of things are really important. It's all, as you say, as we spoke about earlier in our little chat, that that old country soul is all about just helping the people around us, helping our community, and trying to do good things. And I always believe that doing good things for other people, good karma comes back. And you don't do it for anything in return, but I've just found throughout life that you go and do good things for people, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, something will come your way, whether it's a great opportunity or you'll meet a great friend or, something like that. So, yeah, it's all about what goes around comes around, I think.
Yeah, I think so too, and I think it's so much easier to hear about those negative stories in the news, and there's hardly ever the positive one. So it's always nice when you get those feel-good stories. And all your years touring, has there been a particular place or a group of people that you've met along the way that's really impacted on you?
I think of all the years touring, probably the most fun I've had is with Becky Cole. Her and I, my wife often says that we're the male and female equivalent of one another, which I'm sure Becky thinks that's an insult. But yeah, we've had so much fun over the years on tour and travelled the country, I think 10 or 11 times right around. And so yeah, we're pretty we're soulmates in a way, and so God, we've had so much fun, and we've had fights, and we're like a brother and sister on tour. So good times and bad times, but I think we've got some shows scheduled in later in the year with Becky and Darren Coggan and Felicity. But fingers crossed, we'll be able to do them. But if we can't, we can't. And I guess it's a scary time for a lot of people, not only in the music industry, but in all the arts, and the airline industry and the travel industry. But I really believe that when all this is behind us, I think Australian tourism is going to see a massive explosion. It's going to be the best times ever, and I think live music in Australia is going to see a real boom time again. I think things are going to be good. We just got to stay positive and hang in there, and in the meantime, enjoy unemployment. I've just washed another load of pajamas so that I've got clean work clothes for the rest of the week.
Work clothes, I like it. I pretty much live in my pajamas until right now, as you've mentioned. So
I was going to say they're flash pajamas in your pajamas.
I've still got the secret slippers on underneath.
Oh, good stuff. Good to see.
But how else has isolation been treating you? Have you picked up any new hobbies, or have you been working on some more music? What's happening in the menu?
It's a funny thing. For a while there, I thought, oh, this is fantastic. I'm on holidays, and then after a few weeks, I went through a bit of a real downward spiral. I got quite depressed, and I sort of lost my sense of, I don't know, purpose, if that's the word for it. And then I sort of thought to myself, well, if I don't change my attitude, if I don't start getting fit, if I don't go on a diet and try and look after myself, exercise every day, when it does, when the time comes and we're ready to go back on tour again, I'm not going to be able to. I'll be 40 stone. I won't be able to do it. So that was a real turnaround. And then I thought about other ways that I could, still keep promoting music, talking about music, even though I couldn't actively go out on tour. And so I started doing these podcasts, and I do them every week. It's called Country Picks. And I'd love to have you on it, actually, if you would be kind enough to do that, because I'd love to have a chat with you. And so now it's evolved into a radio show, and we've got, I think so far, 115 stations across Australia that have signed on to take the show every week. So it's turned in from this little podcast thing that I did to keep myself busy. Yeah. It's turned into this whole other thing, which is going to be fantastic, because it's a great way to promote new music, like your new song, and chat to all my country music mates, and it just keeps me active, and I'm still in the country music industry, even though I can't be out live on stage. So that's really exciting.
Well, I'm excited. I'll be happy to be involved, and I've got a date at your bar as well locked in. So I think my schedule's filling up. Thanks, Adam.
We're ready to go. You beauty.
Awesome. Well, it's so good to chat with you, and thanks for taking the time. And I will hold you to those little dates.
See ya. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, thanks, Adam, for joining me tonight. I'll be back on Thursday at 7 p.m. for a quick chat with the always energetic and beautiful Brooke McClymont. It's going to be fun, so tune in, take care, and we'll see you back here for another episode on Thursday night. 'Cause I know I got that old country soul, that boondock swag in a stroll, rock it with